Hello crafty friends, this is the Papered Chef here. In today's Brothers Scan and Cut tips and tricks video, I'm going to show you how to cut out patterned paper. The patterned paper we're cutting out is by Stampin Up and it's called Magnolia Lane Designer Series paper. The first sheet here is what we're going to be cutting. So let's get started, and as it's doing its thing, I can actually show you the other sheets of paper in the stack, but I want to just get the tutorial started. Okay, now on the other, every piece of paper is double-sided. So I'll show you the other side because we'll be cutting it. Okay, and I tried the different darker patterns and I didn't have good success, but this first sheet, excellent success rate. So the first thing you need to do is just attach your designer series paper to the mat. Okay, my mat happens to be sticky, so I'm just gonna lay it on the mat, but if you don't have a sticky mat, see, my mat's sticky. I mean, you can do different techniques. You can use a brayer. I have one of these brayers from Brother, and it helps, like, you could roll it and help stick your designer series paper to the mat, and it does help. I mean, sometimes I just do it anyway for good measure, even when I do have a sticky mat. I have a video on how to re-stick the mats. Okay, the other thing you can do is add a piece of painter's tape. Okay, so the painter's tape, though, it's the problem with the painter's tape is when you're scanning, you can't cover up the registration marks. So I add sometimes painter's tape after I do the scanning stage. And what do I mean by that? Like after I do this stage here. So I'm gonna, when you turn on your machine, you see pattern and scan. And we're going to go ahead and select, let me get my stylus. Sorry, there goes my camera. Oops. But we're gonna keep on rolling because we're crafters. All right, so we're gonna say scan. Okay, when you turn on your machine, you see pattern and scan. And then we're gonna say direct cut because we're directly cutting out this designer series paper. And now this is just asking where do we want to temporarily store this image that we're scanning. We're gonna store it on the machine. The machine has enough memory, so go ahead and store it there. Now, because this paper is great contrast between the foreground and the background, look at those well-defined lines. This just did an excellent job. Okay, so it's well outlined, it has a nice white background. Therefore, you don't need color recognition mode, even though it's a colored piece of paper. So go in here to your settings and make sure you're in black and white recognition mode. It saves you a great deal of time, and I'll tell you which sheets I had to use color recognition mode for a little bit later. But I'm gonna use black and white. And then we're just gonna go ahead and say start, okay? And it's gonna say load the mat, okay? So you have to load the mat and then say start. Okay. You can load the mat before or after. I just sometimes forget to load it. And my machine looks like it's, oh, I see, my tape. I have a roll of tape and it's like stuck under my machine a little bit. Okay, so it's scanning, it's recognizing. Now I have for this the results of this piece of paper. When I did the entire sheet earlier, it took me 14 minutes to cut out every one of these flowers. And I mean, I'm talking about the whole entire sheet, even out to the edges. So for that reason, I'm not going to select all of these flowers because I've already done lots of projects, so please stick around and let me show you like a dozen things I've made using these flowers. But just to show you how to do it, you're gonna say okay, and you see all of this selection. I'm just going to tell you that if you wanna do it and you wanna wait, then you follow the same procedures. You just leave it selected, leave the whole page selected. But for the intents and purposes of this tutorial, I'm just gonna select a little section up there in the corner because it'll teach you the concept, right? So now, you're gonna, you might wanna select the whole thing, but I'm selecting just this section. There's a couple things I need to do. Let me show you a flower so you get the idea, okay? So let me grab one of my flowers. I always do everything mass production. So this is what we want. Now you could cut around the flower, and that would be, in this setting here, I wouldn't change the outline distance at all. But I just tend to, I like an outline distance. So I like a little white border around my flowers. I don't know, it just gives it better dimension. I don't know how come it's taking so long to do that. But I want the outline distance of 0.04. Okay, so that's what I want so that I get the white outline around it. Okay, we're gonna say okay. The other thing we need to do is we need to ignore the small objects because we know this flower is like an inch well, it's not maybe quite an inch there. Let me put it against my mat. Oh, it's over an inch tall. So we can safely say, let's go in here. But we don't want to also, but we also want to get these little leaves, because these leaves made really cool embellishments as well. So let's just go in here and ignore the real small objects. So you go in here to the setting, ignore objects. I don't know, let's say 1/4 of an inch, or a little bit, 0.28. That'll work. It'll get rid of the little specks, but maybe not my little leaves as well. Okay, now we're going to say okay, and it's going to process that little section. Okay, it did a good job. It got most of the flowers, the leaves, and now if you want, okay, if you want to, this is just an extra little step. You can go in here to this editing mode. It's the one with the shapes, and you could delete. Like, say I don't want that leaf. Let me zoom in. I do want it, but say I don't want that, or say I don't want one of the flowers or something, or maybe only a partial one was selected. Okay, you can actually trash it. Okay, you can delete that so it doesn't cut out. I'm just going to do it for the sake of teaching you how to do it. So if I don't want that little leaf or something else on your mat that got selected, even after ignoring the object size, maybe it's still there and you're like, I didn't mean to cut that out. Well, then you would just hit the trash and you say okay. And now it'll cut out the rest. Okay, we're going to say cut. Now, if you have a Brother ScanNCut DX machine, it'll have auto blade technology. You don't need to do all this stuff I have to do, which is setting the blade depth. Usually with any designer series paper, you know, you have to use a blade depth of 3 or more, but my blade is kind of dull. I've talked about sharpening my blades in different videos. I'm just going to go ahead and go over that. I like to just add extra little nuggets of Brother ScanNCut tips and tricks in my videos. But I use a ball of foil. Never just hold the foil in your hand when you sharpen, but put the foil down on something and then just poke your blade into the foil. Nonetheless, my blade is very dull. Even so, I use it all day long. So I'm going to use a blade depth of 4, even though you just saw me sharpen it with the foil. Usually, but for you and in my notes, I'm going to say blade depth of 3, because many of my viewers don't use the ScanNCut as much as me, and blade depth of 3 will work fine for you. But I'm going to use a 4 because I'm already on my, I think my 3rd blade holder here. The springs are getting dull inside there. The blade's getting dull. So I'm going to use a 4, but use a blade depth of 3 like I'll put in the description of the video. Okay, we're going to say start. And the machine is noisy. It says 2 minutes, but it'll take more than a minute, but less than 2. So then I have a chance to show you the paper. So I'm going to go ahead and push that away. So see what I'm doing here? I'm just rubbing to make sure that even though my mat is sticky, I said I just restuck the mat, I still like to give it a rub, and that's when you could add the painter's tape, because now you're not covering up the registration marks. If you want to add painter's tape for good measure to hold your paper in place on both sides, you could do that. All right, so I'm going to tilt the camera down, show you the rest of the Designer Series paper. So in the Magnolia Lane Designer Series paper stack, here are your colors: Basic Black, Early Espresso, Mossy Meadow, Pool Party, So Saffron, and Whisper White. I've used a lot of Old Olive in the projects I'm going to show you because I happen to have a lot of Old Olive cardstock, but I didn't have Mossy Meadow cardstock. Okay, so here's a sheet of the paper. I'm sure that's going to cut out well too, but I didn't try this particular sheet yet. And here's another beautiful sheet. That's the other side of that one. And then you have this sort of Mossy Meadow stripes and these beautiful flowers here. Oh, see, the DX is not as not as noisy as my. I'm using the CM350 or ScanNCut too, like many of my viewers are. Okay, and this piece here I use as a background piece. I didn't need to cut those out. They're just too small for me to cut out. I didn't cut those out. Now this one I did cut out, and it worked, but I had to use color recognition mode, and it took like 20 minutes. So it was really like a long process. And in the end, I probably wouldn't do it again. It was very painful, and it wasn't worth it. These came out nice. These I had to use color recognition mode for as well. These little leaves. But in the end, I think that makes a better background. And I think in all the effort and all the stuff I did, I think that these just came out so easily that I think I would just recommend cutting these sheets of, for your embellishments. And this one here, they're too close together to cut, so it makes a great background. So there you are. You got to see the 12 sheets, the 12 patterns. Every pack of paper comes with 6 double-sided Designer Series paper sheets. and then of course the one that's on the mat. And I've only have one pack of this, so I've cut up the other sheet that I had of this. Okay, so now I'm gonna do, so getting back to our tutorial, so you have, this is the part that cut out right in here. Okay, now let's just show you the next step in case you're new to the ScanNCut. The step is that it asks you, let me focus this. It says finish cutting, and you say okay, and then you have to unload the mat. And then it's going to delete all the patterns, and that's fine, and you say okay. And now we'll unload the mat, and you no longer need that control panel anymore. And I can show you what it looks like and how to get these off the mat. So here we have our magnolias. And we're just going to peel the paper away. So peel the designer series paper. Not as fast as I did. You should go a little slower. Oh, you know what? I have the little piece of tape on there. I like to use painter's tape when my mats are not very sticky. And then I just kind of leave them stuck to my machine so they don't get stuck in the machine. Okay, so I'm going to peel the paper back. You could have done a whole sheet. It would have taken you 14 minutes to do an entire sheet. But look at that great success rate. Incidentally, for my team members watching, we can get this paper, you guys, we can get it in bulk for when we have parties. And any Stampin' Up demonstrators watching, you can buy the Magnolia Lane paper in bulk with it as a demonstrator. And it's cheaper than buying the separate packs as a customer, just so you know. But you only get like 4 sheets instead of all the sheets, but it's a pretty cool new product supply. Okay, so here's what we have. These are our little embellishments. So you peel the mat a little bit, and you go like that. And you know, you have a little spatula that came with your ScanNCut, and you can use the spatula to help get these off the mat. Okay, so then you get them all off, and like I always talk about when I mass produce my crafts, I do a whole sheet of these, then I made a whole bunch of projects with the sheet of these, and then, you know, I did all my stamping, I did all my punching. Okay, so let's show you some other products and things that you can do now that you have all these embellishments. There's no sense teaching you what to do if you can't figure out kind of cool things to make with our new products from our annual catalog. And I just got my annual catalogs in the mail, so I'm excited about that. I can finish sending out survival kits to customers as promised. I had sent out a batch before, but then the mail was slow getting catalogs. I'm not peeling off every little leaf, just those. All right, so gives you something pretty to look at. Let's start with my little holders. Okay, I call these holders. I always do things for craft fairs and for gift giving and care packages, and this is just one of the things I've been making for years and years. I didn't actually get the Magnolia Lane stamp set. You're gonna be like, what? I thought you have everything. No, I don't have everything. Here in the front of the catalog. They even feature the Magnolia Lane suite. It was so popular that it was in the first day, parts of it went on back order in the Stampin' Up store. And I'm gonna tell you what parts you can still get and what parts you can't. So here's the Magnolia Lane suite. And something new in this year's annual catalog by Stampin' Up. And by the way, I'm a demonstrator, full disclosure. I do sell Stampin' Up products. I do demonstrate these products, and I have workshops, like I had a launch party this weekend. Okay, so there's the Magnolia Lane suite. You can buy the whole suite together, but this went on back order on day 1 because parts of the suite were already sold out. So you have all these like different elements of the suite. Stamp sets, dies, embossing folder, designer series paper, cards, memories and more cards, ribbon, which I did get. So I got, let's see what I got. I got the designer series paper, these cards, these blank cards, they're called, let's see, I put the tab in here. They're called, here, Magnolia Lane's Large Specialty Memories and More Cards and Envelopes. Okay, I did get these, and then I bought this Magnolia Lane's Memories and More card pack. So unfortunately, you can't buy this card pack right now. It's on back order until August already, this card pack. But you can get these cards I'm going to show you, which are totally awesome. I didn't think so at first, but they're really awesome. You can decorate them really well. And then I got this ribbon, okay? And I got the paper, of course, so that's right here. So this is the stamp set, though, and some of you guys will be totally interested in that. Imagine cutting that with the ScanNCut, and actually comes with a matching die as well. So I'm sure, like, both would work well. And then there's the paper. Okay, but I didn't get that stamp set. I just wasn't feeling it because it's a lot of coloring, and I do like coloring, but like not that much with the giant flowers. So I got this Free as a Bird stamp set, which is it's also it's called in our Bird Ballad suite. So that's what I'm going to be showing you. All my sentiments are from here. I used Your Friendship Means the World to Me, thank you, and thanks for being you. And I think I may have even used this one on one of my cards. And so I used this stamp set here. Now I used Old Olive because that's the kind of cardstock I had. First of all, I didn't even realize it was Mossy Meadow until later. And secondly, you got to use what you have. And I happen to have this Mossy, or whatever. I had Old Olive. I had Old Olive cardstock, and it seemed to work. So I stamped in Old Olive. Okay, that's the Stampin' Up color. And it does match. I mean, to me, it matches. Okay, and then I stamped it, but then I stamped the circle. So I did 1 3/4 inch circles, and then I did 2-inch circles here, and then sometimes I even use my 2 1/4 inch circles for different things. So I stamped a bazillion of those, and I even cut out with my ScanNCut little extra things besides my little tea and Ghirardelli holders. I cut out some nugget holders for later, which I didn't get to yet. Okay, and then here's what I made. Here's the project. So you have your sentiment up front, the Old Olive twine, or could be Mossy Meadow twine, and that twine is part of the suite. And then you open it up, and there's where I use, this is how I embellish with the little flowers that we just cut out. So I cut out a whole sheet of those, got loads of them, and I put the little Ghirardelli chocolate inside. Okay, so that's one, and then I took the same wrapper, and I can also, you can just use my same measurements, which I'll share with you. Okay, and I can even do a separate tutorial again. I've done it before, but I can do it again if I have new viewers. So this one I just punched out the designer series paper, and you can put green, you can put tea inside here. Okay, and then a couple more. So this is the other side of a pattern of the designer series paper. Again, just using these embellishments, and again, an embellishment on a circle inside it. Okay, I just like to embellish. I just like to have a lot of embellishments. When I go to workshops, we had a launch party. I had all the little birds cut out that I talked about in one of my videos, loads and loads of birds. Then my crafty friends got to use those embellishments to also decorate. So I just love having lots and lots of options and embellishments. I also love stickers. I love anything like that. Here's where I just punched out the designer series paper. You know, that's the petal pink. And there's some more flowers. This one didn't need anything inside because it had the flowers inside. Okay, so that's 3D. Another 3D item is I did a Lip-Balm Box. I talked about this. This is from the Stamp Doctor. And after seeing my last video, she said, hey, everybody who watches your videos gets 10% off at the Stamp Doctor. So I'll put a link to that in the, my coupon's just, the Papered Chef is my coupon code. But anyway, this is a Lip-Balm Box. Let me open that for you. Pretty cool. I just got this and I've been using the heck out of it. So you go, you get lip balm, you know, just from anywhere, dollar store, get 3 for $1. And look how cute. The lip balm's already cute to give to somebody, but then look how cute when you put it in this little box. And I have a little tiny die to make this little tiny box. And I decorated it with the flowers. Okay, now I'm going to show you my cards. Lots and lots of cards. So I used, to make these cards, I used, let me show you. Sometimes I use the Free as a Bird. But I just want to go over, it's in back order. You can still get this, but you have to wait till like August. But it's still better getting it now and waiting till August than not getting it at all. These cards are pretty darn cool. They're $11. And they have all these awesome patterns in them. And I use, these are available now. Magnolia Lane, large specialty memories and more cards and envelopes. I don't know where here's my website. There's my website. If you want to get anything I'm showing you, that's my website. There's always a coupon code to use on there. Okay, so now there's this really cool thing that came out, and it's called Scalloped Note Cards. So I took the Memories and More card pack and I just punched out. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. I have like, there were cards in there, and they already had like patterns in them. And so I know I put it in the pile somewhere. I think this is it. Okay, so these are the Memories and More cards, and they come with all kinds of patterns. And I thought, let me just punch it out, because instead of just using it plain, I like to add dimension to my card. So I punched it out. Then I just layered it up. So there's a layer popped up with dimensionals. There's another layer. There's another layer of designer series paper and a flower. So I have 4 layers on here. Just taking the simple scalloped pink note cards. I made 4 layers. And then when I punched out the inside of that, then I have that piece, and I can use that for another card, which I did somewhere. I'll get to it, because I want to show you the other scallop card. Okay, here's how you could take the scallop card, note cards, and this is an Old Olive one, and now the birds have Old Olive in the bird ballad, I showed how to cut these out with the ScanNCut as well. So then I added some flowers and birds, and 2 birds because we're the best of friends, that sentiment. And that pool party color again. The colors were some of the same colors in the suite, or complementary colors. I just think they went well together. So the flowers and the birds. Okay, and then I started getting into this whole, I did get a blank one to show you. These are the Memories and More cards. Okay, so I have the blank one. So here's what they look like. Let me find, here we go. So you get these little cards, and at first, the first time I opened them up, I'm like, seriously, they're kind of flimsy, right? But then I was like, but they're foiled, and I love the fact that they're foiled, and they're all just cute, and I thought, okay, and it even comes with these envelope liners for the envelopes here, so I thought, that's pretty darn cool. So then these started to grow on me, and I made loads and loads of projects with them. So this is how I'm using those flowers. I use my ScanNCut to cut out the layer, the back layer, to go right beneath the foil. And then the Memories and More card is a little bit smaller than that. And I just pop that up with dimensionals, the flower in the middle. And then I put a Memories and More card inside to write the note on, okay? And there's what I'm talking about, these card pack that's on back order. I hate that we have back orders already in like the first week, but it does show how popular our items are. This is what I mean by making the layers with the ScanNCut. So I cut these out precisely, and I'll give you the measurements. It's like 3.1 inch or something, but it fit perfectly on that side, and then I forget this side, but I'll have to write down that in my description. I promise to put the notes in my description. I know my viewers get mad if I don't put the notes in my description. Okay, but anyway, you put that mat down, and then you get the other, then you can do the other things to it. So like here, so like there was the inside of that one. Okay, so here's how you can take one Memories and More card. You cut it out with the circle punch. You can use your ScanNCut to cut a circle through here as well. Then you have your card that I made with this, the you and me. Okay, then you have the reverse of that. Then you can do this whole layering effect. So I put down a piece of Designer Series paper. Then I put down the precisely cut with the ScanNCut. Then I put down a layer of this Memories and More card. Then I put down the layers of circles with dimensionals, pop those up, and one of those flowers. And let's see if I did anything. I didn't do anything to the inside of that one yet. These are a work in progress. Now this one, what happened is I had done a big card, right? And then I accidentally had done it upside down, and then I just cut it apart and made a smaller card out of it. So it worked out well. I punched out the You Are Loved with one of the cards, and then I just, had the inside to use for something else. Used Designer Series paper. There's some of the leaves I said cut out really well with the ScanNCut on that one piece of Designer Series paper. Okay, this is Old Olive, and ideally I could use Mossy Meadow, which will go with it better, but I don't have Mossy Meadow. I might have one sheet of it. I'm not gonna buy a pack of Mossy Meadow. Honestly, it's not a color that makes me very happy. It's too dark of a green color, but I have like 1 or 2 sheets of it because I bought like a variety pack of all the new colors last year. But anyway, so I like my Old Olive, and just do what makes you happy. Do colors that make you happy because you're sending them to people and you wanna make them happy. And the cards that you make are a reflection of you. So that's all the different layers I added from the ScanNCut. Then I took a Memories and More card here, and I did a birthday wishes one. Okay, sending wishes on your special day. And lots and lots of magnolias on this one. Again, just Designer Series paper, Old Olive, and another one inside. Another Memories and More card with the, again, popped up with dimensionals, the little flower. And then I have another one here, Your Friendship Means the World to Me. And another, I put the cards in the inside because I think it made it more stable. I could have used white, I could have used Whisper White in the inside, but I like these Memories and More cards. Now this pack came with the giant cards too, but I used them all up where they would fit just precisely in there. So I hope you like the dozen projects I created using this technique where you cut out the pattern paper using the ScanNCut. And I hope you'll give it a try with whatever pattern paper that you happen to have. Feel free to ask questions about the Brother ScanNCut and our Stampin' Up! Products. And I hope to see you in the next tutorial. Please subscribe to my channel if you're new here. This is the Papered Chef. Bye for now.